As the clock struck midnight in South Korea, BTS fans around the world were already deep in celebration of Jungkook's 28th birthday. But among the glittering light shows, dazzling fan banners, and citywide tributes across Korea, one particular message from fellow BTS member Jin stood out, not for its public visibility, but for the depth of emotion it carried. Jin, the eldest of BTS, shared in an off-air interview during a backstage moment at a recent promotional event that Jungkook's birthday has always been one of the most emotional days for him personally. His reason? I've seen him grow from a boy to a man. From the moment he walked into the training room with big eyes and shy glances, to now, he's become someone the whole world admires. But to me, he'll always be that wide-eyed kid looking up at his youngs. Although Jin has been overwhelmed with back-to-back schedules following the massive success of his Echo album and multiple brand endorsement commitments, he made it clear that no amount of fame or workload could make him forget this day. Sources close to HYB confirmed that Jin sent a private birthday letter to Jungkook via military mail earlier in the week. Handwritten, wrapped with a personal sketch, and sealed with a note that read, "From your forever Hyung." What moved fans even further was how Jin quietly asked for no public sharing of his message this year. "This one's just between me and him," Jin was quoted saying, according to a staff member present at the event. Despite requests from local press to read a few lines from the letter, Jin politely declined, saying, "I've said everything I wanted to say to him, and he knows." This gesture sent a wave of admiration across ARMY fandoms worldwide, who praised Jin's sincerity and deep sense of loyalty. Twitter trended hashtags such as #JinForJungkook, #HyungLove, and #ForeverMagne, with fans noting that the oldest and youngest of BTS continue to be the emotional anchors of the group, even during their individual activities and temporary separation due to military service. During a brief appearance on KBS Radio Night Breeze, Jin also added with a small smile, "There are things we go through as idols that the world never sees. But birthdays, they're sacred. They're like reminders that life is worth celebrating, especially the life of someone you've watched grow right next to you." Fans recall how Jin once jokingly called Jungkook a muscle bunny and a chaotic baby during earlier broadcasts, but beneath the laughter, today's quiet reflections showed a different layer of their bond, one that's rooted in genuine brotherhood and mutual respect. As Jungkook completes his mandatory service, and Jin returns to reclaim the world stage as a soloist and ambassador, their bond remains unshaken. Even in silence, even in letters not shown to the world, their relationship continues to be a guiding light in the BTS story, proof that some connections aren't just forged in fame, but in years of shared struggle, dreams, and heart. As Jungkook's birthday rolled on into the afternoon hours, fans continued to pour their love online, creating digital art, organizing charity events, and even composing birthday letters addressed not just to Jungkook, but also to Jin. Many recognized Jin's quiet but powerful presence throughout Jungkook's growth, calling him the unsung pillar of the youngest member's development. One fan post, now viral on Weverse, read, "Jin didn't just celebrate Jungkook today, he raised him. This is more than a birthday. It's a reminder that true brotherhood is built in the quiet moments. Thank you, Seokjin." That message received over 500,000 reactions, echoing the sentiment shared by many who followed BTS since their early days. What made this year's celebration even more poignant was the backdrop of transitions. BTS is currently in a phase of individual explorations, military service, and solo endeavors. The connection between Jin and Jungkook, however, remains unwavering, becoming a symbol of how bonds formed under pressure can become lifelong. And while Jungkook couldn't publicly respond due to his military duties, fans noticed that HYB's official BTS account reshared past Jin and Jungkook moments on their stories, perhaps a subtle nod of acknowledgement to the emotional weight of the day. Industry insiders have long commented on the special chemistry between the two, often jokingly calling Jin Jungkook's second parent during the early debut years. From cooking meals and checking on his vocal health, to gently scolding him when needed, Jin has worn many hats: mentor, brother, protector. As ARMY continues to celebrate Jungkook's legacy and his birthday, Jin's heartfelt and private tribute reminds the world that beneath the layers of fame, music, and records, what truly endures is family, the kind that chooses you and never lets go. Jungkook's birthday this year wasn't just a date. It became a celebration of how far he's come and how deeply he's loved. And no one, perhaps, loves him quite like Jin does. As the day transitioned into night, fans began speculating whether Jin might have left behind more than just a quiet airport appearance. Whispers circulated online that a small, private gift was handed to Jungkook by a staff member close to Jin. Though no official confirmation has been given, the speculation alone was enough to melt fans' hearts. Some believed it could be a handwritten letter, while others imagined a fishing-themed item, referencing their shared memories near the sea. What makes this all the more emotional is the timing. With Jungkook's birthday falling during his military service, he could not be publicly celebrated in traditional idol fashion. Yet, Jin, also once under strict schedules and military rules, understood the weight of such a moment. It was not just a birthday for a member of BTS. It was the birthday of the golden magne who had grown up before their very eyes, shaped in part by Jin's warmth and unspoken guidance. Jin's gentle presence, even in silence, felt louder than words. While thousands of fan projects dazzled the skies with light shows, trains, LED billboards, and towering banners across continents, it was Jin's embrace, that singular moment at the airport, tight, heartfelt, and laced with unspoken emotion, that reminded everyone what BTS stood for all along, not just music or fame, but the family they built together. And while Jungkook may be completing his duties away from the spotlight, ARMY felt that through Jin's quiet tribute, every fan's love had reached him. It wasn't just a birthday, it was a homecoming of hearts. A moment where Wonhyung's love stitched the gap between public celebration and personal sentiment. As midnight neared, hashtags like #Jin for Jungkook, #Golden Magne Day, and #Seokjin Hugs You trended in multiple countries. Fans worldwide clung to the image of Jin at the airport, holding Jungkook close as though protecting something precious. Because in many ways, he was, and that single moment, of a brother silently standing in the crowd, waiting not for cameras but for connection, will live on far beyond the birthday. It will remain etched in a legacy of two souls who grew up side by side, reminding the world that love isn't always loud. Sometimes it just stands quietly at an airport and waits. As the final minutes of Jungkook's birthday passed, a stillness hung over the fandom, a quiet, emotional echo of everything that had unfolded. While the world celebrated with grandeur, it was the intimate, almost fragile interaction between Jin and Jungkook that remained the most unforgettable. The hug, the silent tears, and the sense of brotherhood carved a new memory into BTS's legacy, one not driven by performance or spectacle, but by a raw human connection that pierced through the noise. A fandom often defined by energy, screams, and shining lights. It was this quiet gesture that broke the internet. Clips of Jin at the airport were analyzed frame by frame, his hand reaching for Jungkook's back, his head leaning closer, eyes glistening just before they looked away. Some fans speculated it wasn't just a hug, it was a farewell to the boy he once helped raise, and a welcome to the man Jungkook had become. Across forums and X, formerly Twitter, ARMYs shared memories, edits, and fan letters inspired by this moment. They recalled Jin protecting Jungkook in their early debut days, always guiding, always comforting. And now, in 2025, when the world had changed and they had walked so many separate paths, the oldest and youngest met again, not as Sunbae and Hubby, not as idol and fan favorite, but as brothers reuniting after time, pain, and growth. Speculation also rose that Jin had rescheduled his own packed commitments just to be present, even if just for that fleeting airport moment. Whether that's true or not almost didn't matter. What mattered was how it felt. That emotion, the unspoken loyalty, the weight of years, and the lingering sadness of having to part again too soon, rippled across the fandom. As the sun rose on September 2nd, fans found themselves changed. Jungkook's 28th birthday had been celebrated not just with lights and hashtags, but with sincerity, memory, and love. Through Jin's gesture, ARMY was reminded of what BTS always promised to represent. Not just music, not just dreams, but a family. A bond that even time and military service could not break.